Ladies and gentlemen, listen up, because I'm about to drop a truth bomb on you. You're not crazy, you're not weak, you're not cursed, but you might be under spiritual attack right now, and if you don't recognize it, you're gonna get chewed up and spit out. Let's get one thing straight. Life is tough, but it's even tougher when you're being sabotaged from the inside out. The enemy doesn't play fair, and they don't give you a warning. It comes in waves, it comes in whispers, and it comes when you least expect it. But there's a way out. First thing you need to notice is this. You're constantly drained. You've been putting in the work, grinding day in and day out, and yet you feel like you're running on empty. You go to bed tired, wake up tired, and yet you haven't done anything to deserve this exhaustion. This is no coincidence. Someone's draining your energy. And it's not just physical, it's spiritual. Recognize it. Take your power back. Second sign, frustration and anger seem to be your default setting. You snapping at people for no reason. What should be a small annoyance turns into a full-blown explosion. I'm telling you, this isn't just life stress. This is an attack designed to push your buttons, break your peace, and make you doubt your sanity. Control yourself. Don't let them win by making you lose your temper. Then there's the crippling doubt about your purpose. One minute you're on fire, feeling like you can conquer the world. The next, you're wondering if you're even meant to be here. The purpose you've been chasing, suddenly you can't even remember why you started. That's not your mind at work, it's the attack. Spiritual attack wants you to forget who you are and why you're here. Fight it. Your purpose is your power, and you're not about to give that up. You sit down, you get quiet, and bam, your mind is flooded with everything under the sun. The phone rings, the dog starts barking, your mind starts racing. This is no coincidence. The more you try to elevate spiritually, the more resistance you'll face. That's your cue. Push harder. Fight the distractions, because your breakthrough's on the other side. If your relationships are falling apart, you're probably under attack. I'm not talking about the natural ups and downs of life. I'm talking about the sudden, inexplicable tension that shows up for no reason. Arguments that seem to come out of nowhere. People who are once your support system are now the source of your stress. They've been targeted by the same force. Don't give in. Stand firm, and don't let these attacks cause division. If your mind is full of negative, self-critical thoughts, listen to me carefully. This is the attack's favorite weapon. Every single negative thought that creeps in, that self-doubt, the inner critic telling you you're not enough, that's not you talking, that's the attack. You've been equipped with the power to fight this. You are more than capable. Shut it down. Don't. Okay, speak truth to yourself. Fanishly, if you're suddenly overcome by anxiety about the future, take a step back. When you're on the verge of a breakthrough, the attack becomes real. It makes you question every decision, every step you take. You start fearing what's next. That's exactly what they want, for you to stay stuck in fear and indecision. Well, I'm here to tell you, fear is not your portion. Step out of it and remember that every step forward is a victory. Here's the deal. Spiritual attacks are real, but so is your strength, so is your resilience. Recognize these signs. Know when the enemy is trying to break you down, and take action. If you're breathing, you got a chance to rise. You've got a chance to fight back. So fight. Fight like your life depends on it, because it does. Let me start by telling you something you probably don't want to hear but need to. You are not imagining things. Everything you're going through right now, every obstacle, every setback, every moment of frustration is not just bad luck. It's not just the universe being unfair. There's a force out there, a spiritual force that is actively working against you. And if you don't recognize it, if you don't acknowledge it, you're going to keep getting knocked down. But here's the thing, this force doesn't win. It can't win, not unless you let it. And the moment you realize what's happening, that's the moment you take your power back. Let's face it, life's tough enough as it is. You get up every day, do the right thing, try to stay positive, stay focused, and keep your head above water. And yet, no matter what you do, it feels like something's always trying to take you out. It's like you're swimming against the current. And the harder you swim, the stronger the current becomes. You start thinking it's just you. You start doubting yourself, thinking, am I doing something wrong? Why is this happening to me? I want you to hear me loud and clear. It's not about what you're doing wrong. It's about what someone else is trying to do to you. Spiritual attacks don't always come in the form of obvious enemies. Sometimes they come in the form of circumstances that seem too tough to handle, or thoughts that seem too dark to shake off. Sometimes they come from the people closest to you, turning love into conflict and peace into chaos. The enemy doesn't care how strong you are, how hard you work, or how much faith you have. What matters to them is that you don't reach your potential, that you don't fulfill the purpose you were born for. But here's the truth you need to hold on to. Recognizing that you're under attack is the first step in breaking free from it. Don't let anyone make you feel crazy for feeling the weight, for seeing things shift around you. That's exactly what the enemy wants, to make you doubt your reality, to convince you that you're just losing your grip. But you know better. You know something's off, and you have the strength to fight back. This isn't a battle you're meant to fight alone. You're not in this by mistake. And the moment you start seeing these attacks for what they are, spiritual warfare, you'll realize that victory is within your reach. You've got the tools, the power, and the wisdom to rise above it all. It's time to stop accepting defeat. It's time to stand firm. And when you do, you'll realize that this attack is nothing more than a setup for your comeback. You ever feel like you're doing everything right, but still, no matter how hard you work, no matter how much effort you put in, you just can't seem to shake the exhaustion? It's like you wake up in the morning already tired, and the more you try to push through, the more drained you become. You take breaks, you rest, you eat right, you do everything the experts say you should do to feel better, yet it doesn't help. And here's the kicker, you're not lazy, you're not weak. But it feels like your energy is being siphoned away, like something is intentionally draining your strength. You feel stuck in this endless cycle, working harder and harder just to keep up, but never feeling any closer to what you're aiming for. Let me tell you something. This isn't a coincidence. This is a sign. You're under attack when you're on the verge of something great, when you're on the cusp of stepping into your purpose. The enemy will throw everything it can at you to stop you. And one of its most effective tools is draining your energy, forcing you to feel so tired and overwhelmed that you give up, that you quit, that you stop fighting. But let me make one thing clear. Fatigue is not the end of your story. It's a signal, it's a warning, and it's also an opportunity, a call to action. This is where you need to get real with yourself. If you're constantly exhausted, but you've done everything you can to manage your energy, it's time to acknowledge the real cause behind it. It's spiritual warfare. It's the attempt to break your focus, to make you so tired that you lose your determination, lose your will to fight. The enemy knows that when you're drained, you're vulnerable, and that's when they pounce. But here's the thing, when you're aware of this, when you see it for what it is, you can flip the script. You can rise up with a new level of strength that comes from deep within. The fatigue you're feeling isn't permanent unless you allow it to be. Don't let it control you. Don't let it be the excuse for not showing up and fighting for what's yours. You have a power within you that goes far beyond physical energy. When your body feels weak, that's when your spirit needs to step in and take over. You've got divine strength at your disposal, and it's time to tap into that. Rest is important, but so is recognizing when fatigue is an attack and choosing to push through it with a new level of determination. This is the moment you refuse to bow down to the weariness. Instead, you rise above it. You keep going, you keep fighting, and you keep believing. Because the moment you realize that this fatigue is not just exhaustion, it's a spiritual battle, you will find a strength that cannot be shaken. And that's when you will truly begin to see the victory that's been waiting for you all along. Have you ever felt like the smallest thing set you off and you can't understand why? You go from zero to furious in a split second, and what should be a simple annoyance turns into an explosion of emotion. You start thinking, why am I so angry? Why is this frustrating me so much? It's like there's a trigger inside of you that's been activated without warning, and suddenly you're overwhelmed by frustration and rage. The worst part is, you know it's not really about what just happened. It's not about that person cutting you off in traffic or that little mistake at work. There's something deeper happening beneath the surface, something you can't quite explain, but you feel it, and it's intense. Let me be real with you. This isn't normal. It's not just stress or pressure building up, it's a spiritual attack. When you feel anger bubbling up out of nowhere, when you find yourself in a constant state of frustration over things that don't really matter, that's when you know you're being targeted. The enemy doesn't want you to have peace. It doesn't want you to be calm, focused, or in control. So it attacks your emotions. It makes you snap. It fills you with bitterness, and it tries to drag you into a cycle of rage that keeps you off track. It's not about the situations, it's about the response you're having. When you let this anger take control, you lose your peace, you lose your ability to think clearly. You give the enemy exactly what it wants: the chance to take you out of character, to make you act in ways that don't reflect your true power. Frustration and anger are distractions. They're designed to cloud your judgment and make you react in ways that push you further from your purpose. They want to trap you in a cycle where you're constantly irritated, constantly upset, and always on the edge so that you can't see the bigger picture. But here's what I need you to understand. You don't have to live like this. You don't have to let frustration control you. This anger is not who you are. You are not weak because you get angry, but you are stronger than that anger. You are stronger than that frustration. The moment you realize this is an attack, the moment you recognize it for what it is, you can start to break free. You've got the power to calm the storm within you. Not only the storm, but every within the vessel, your heart. You've got the strength to stand firm, to refuse to let these emotions derail you. Don't let the enemy win by making you lose your peace. Recognize that anger and frustration are tools to distract you from what really matters. Stand up, take a deep breath, and remember who you are. You are not someone who reacts out of anger, but someone who rises above it. When you do that, the frustration loses its grip on you. You take back your peace, your focus, and your power. And in doing so, you make it clear that nothing, not even unexplainable anger, can shake you from your path. Natasha, you ever feel like you're going through life, doing your best, and yet there's this nagging voice inside your head telling you that maybe you're not doing enough? Maybe you're not on the right track. Maybe your purpose isn't as clear as you thought it was. You question everything. The choices you made, the direction you're heading, the work you're putting in, every step feels uncertain. And that voice inside your head gets louder, making you second guess yourself at every turn. You start to doubt everything you've been working for. It's like you're standing at a crossroads, but the path you're supposed to take isn't visible, and the one you've been walking doesn't seem to lead anywhere. Listen to me right now. Those doubts, they're not coming from you. That uncertainty isn't yours to carry. When you're on the brink of something great, when you're walking the path you were designed for, the enemy will do everything it can to make you question your calling. It will fill your mind with doubt, with fear, with confusion, all designed to make you turn around, to make you give up, to make you feel like you're wasting your time. But I'm telling you, those doubts are a distraction. They're there to make you second guess your purpose, to make you feel like you're on the wrong path, to make you believe that maybe you're not meant for the greatness you feel in your heart. But here's the reality you need to grab hold of. Doubt is just a signal that you're on the right track. When you start to question your purpose, that's when you know the enemy is threatened. When you start to doubt, it's because what you're doing matters. That's when you're making real progress, even if it doesn't feel like it. Your purpose is never going to feel easy. It's never going to feel like everything's just falling into place. If it did, you'd be on the wrong path. The right path will always challenge you, make you question, make you push harder. And that's exactly why you need to keep going, especially when the doubts are loudest. You were made for more than this. You were made to succeed. You were born for greatness, and deep down you know that. Don't let the doubts make you forget that. They want you to quit before you see the rewards, to give up before the breakthrough. But your purpose is already locked in, and no matter how many doubts come at you, they cannot change the truth. You are exactly where you need to be. And you are exactly who you need to be to make it through this. The doubts are just a smokescreen. Don't be fooled. Every time you push past them, you're one step closer to stepping into the fullness of who you were created to be. So don't back down. Don't let the doubts make you stop. You are on the right path. And nothing, absolutely nothing, can take that away from you. And that includes your bed. Have you ever tried to pray or meditate, truly focus on connecting with your higher power, only to have your mind go completely off track? You close your eyes, you try to find that place of peace, and then boom, thoughts start flooding in. The grocery list, a conversation from yesterday, something you need to do tomorrow. It's like no matter how hard you try to focus, your mind keeps jumping from one thing to the next. It's frustrating, isn't it? You sit there trying to ground yourself, trying to feel that divine presence, but instead, you're battling an onslaught of distractions, and it feels like the harder you try to focus, the more the distractions intensify. Listen closely. This is not just random. This is not just you being unfocused. This is a sign that you're under attack. When you're on the verge of connecting on a deeper level with your purpose, when you're about to unlock something powerful in your life, that's when the distractions show up. The enemy knows that when you're in prayer or meditation, you're strengthening your connection to your source of power. You're aligning yourself with the divine, and that connection is dangerous to forces that want to see you fail. So what do? They send distractions to break your focus, to steal your peace, to keep you from accessing that higher wisdom and clarity that would lead you to success. But here's the thing. When the distractions come, that's when you need to dig in your heels. That's when you need to push through. Recognize these interruptions for what they really are. A signal that you're onto something powerful. When you start feeling like your mind is racing, like everything is pulling you in different directions, take a step back and understand that you are exactly where you need to be. The enemy's threat is trying to make you give up, trying to make you think you're doing it wrong, trying to keep you from unlocking your true potential. But I want you to hear me loud and clear that you don't have to give in to the distractions. You don't have to let your mind run wild. You've got the power to control your focus. The moment you recognize that these distractions are an attack, that's when you can take back your peace. You can reclaim your time and energy. And when you do, you'll find that your connection with your higher self becomes. Have you ever noticed that when you're on the verge of something big, something great, the relationships in your life, whether personal or professional, seem to get harder? People you love, people you trust, seem to be acting distant or even combative, and you're left wondering why it feels like there's a constant tension in the air. It's like no matter what you do, no matter how much you try to mend things or hold it together, it feels like the strain keeps building. Conversations that used to be easy are now filled with misunderstandings. Simple issues become arguments, and you start questioning whether everything is falling apart. Let me tell you something right now. This is no accident. When you're about to level up in life, when you're moving closer to your destiny, relationships often take a hit. The enemy knows that the people in your life are a source of support, encouragement, and strength. They know that when you're surrounded by love and positivity, nothing can stop you. So what does it do? It targets your relationships, creating friction, sparking tension, and pulling people apart. The goal is to make you feel isolated, misunderstood, and disconnected so that you lose the support system That's essentia for your journey forward. But don't be fooled. Don't let the strain of relationships make you doubt yourself or your path. This isn't a sign that you've chosen the wrong people or that you're moving in the wrong direction. It's a sign that you're on the right track. And the enemy is trying to break your focus, to weaken your resolve. These struggles aren't a reflection of your worth or your value. They're an attack on your peace. They are meant to distract you, to make you think that your progress is tied to the approval of others, when in reality, your purpose is bigger than any disagreement, any misunderstanding, any person who tries to pull you down. This is your time to stay strong and to set boundaries. This is the moment when you realize that your peace, your purpose, and your growth are not dependent on anyone else's approval. Relationships will go through seasons of strain, but that doesn't mean you're meant to walk away from them. It means you're being called to show up with a new level of strength and understanding. It means that you need to stand firm in your truth, keep showing love, and remember that not every battle in relationships is worth fighting. Some things need time to heal, but you can't let the strain make you lose focus on what's truly important. Keep moving forward, even if the people around you don't understand. Keep pushing, even if you're facing resistance. Because the breakthrough you're heading toward is far greater than the tension you're feeling in this moment.